I want you to do something radically different today, not tomorrow, not next week, not someday when you think you'll be ready, but today, right now, in this sacred instant. I want you to say to yourself, with absolute inner authority, I'm a multimillionaire from today. Not a wish, not a hope, not a goal, a fact, a spiritual fact. And once you claim this inner truth, do not entertain the old man, the former self who doubted, who feared, who waited for signs. You are not to wait. You are not to ask how. You are not to consult your bank balance, your job, your current environment, or any outer condition. All of these are reflections of past assumptions, and you are stepping out of that past now. Today is the day you become radically honest with the only power that creates reality, your imagination. Do you not realize that everything in your world, yes, everything is nothing more than the projection of an internal assumption? Your outer world is the shadow cast by the light of your inner speech. So I ask you again, are you speaking from poverty or wealth? Are you affirming limitation or expansion? Are you seeing yourself as someone struggling to become a multimillionaire, or as someone who has already received it and is now enjoying the ease of it? You must understand assumption, when persisted in, hardens into fact, not by accident, not sometimes, not depending on what mood God is in. No, this is law, the law of consciousness, the law of assumption, the law of imagination. Call it what you will. It does not care what name you use. It only responds to the state you dwell in. So I invite you, no, I urge you to dwell in the feeling that you are now a multimillionaire. See the world through the eyes of one who has already achieved it. What does the morning feel like when you wake up as a multimillionaire? How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself in rooms, in silence, in your own company? There is no need to fake this in the outer world. This is not about acting for the eyes of others. No, this is done in secret. And your Father, who sees in secret, rewards you openly. You will not need to hustle or beg or prove anything. You will not need to manipulate or struggle or pretend. You will know. You will radiate, because reality conforms to the internal picture, not the other way around. Your desire to be a multimillionaire is not a vanity. It is not greed. It is not something to be ashamed of or to suppress. It is the voice of God within you, calling you to expansion. Every true desire is a divine command. You were not given the desire to mock you. You were not shown the vision so that you could live in torment. You were given the desire because it is already yours in another dimension. And your work is not to earn it, but to align with it. So say it again, not as a plea, but as a declaration. I am a multimillionaire from today. Feel it, breathe it, live it. Walk through this day and all the days to come in that state. Let others say what they want. Let them call it delusion, fantasy, madness. But remember what I tell you now. The world is yourself pushed out. So if someone calls you mad, it is simply an old belief echoing back to you. Do not engage it. Do not fight it. Simply assume a new inner conversation. When you look in the mirror, see the face of wealth. When you sit down to eat, eat as one who eats in abundance. When you rest at night, rest as one who has everything already accomplished. You don't try to be a multimillionaire. You are one. You're not convincing the world. You are convincing yourself. And once you are fully convinced, the world will mirror back your conviction in exact detail. If it must take a change in circumstances, so be it. If it must rearrange your job, your location, your social circle, let it happen. The law takes care of all of that. Your business is simply to feel from the end and persist there. The rest is none of your concern. What does a multimillionaire do? He or she does not wake up wondering how to survive. He does not scramble. She does not panic. The multimillionaire thinks from the mountaintop, not from the valley. He gives freely. She blesses others with generosity. There is a stillness, a calm, a boldness in the way such a person lives. You do not become that person through effort, but through identity. It is identity, not action, that precedes manifestation. You do not get rich to feel rich. You feel rich, and you become rich. This is what the world does not understand. They chase shadows and deny the source. But you know better. You know that feeling is the secret, and your inner speech is the mold into which life is poured. What is your inner speech right now? What are you saying to yourself? Are you rehearsing debt, worrying about bills, or are you feeling the solid satisfaction of being wealthy beyond measure? You can change it. You can revise it now. Revision is not just about fixing the past. It is about reshaping the present. You can override any belief, any memory, any pattern, and replace it with the assumption of wealth. And that assumption will then clothe itself in reality. Do not look for the signs too early. Seeds do not sprout because we dig them up daily to see if they're growing. No, you plant the seed of I am a multimillionaire, and you water it with feeling. You give it the sunlight of inner peace. You trust. You know that the harvest is inevitable. And soon people will say to you, how did you do it? What changed? And you will smile not arrogantly, but gently. You will say, I assumed it. I lived it. I believed before I saw, and now I see what I believed. The old version of you may scream and cry and try to hold on. Let it die. The small self, the fearful self, the worried self, that version must dissolve so the new self can emerge. This is a resurrection. You are dying to your old self and rising as a multi-millionaire. That's what it is. That's why it feels strange. That's why you sometimes feel discomfort or resistance. It is the old man trembling before he is cast off. Let him go. Let her go. They have served their purpose. Now you must serve your highest self. This version of you that has millions, he or she is already within you, waiting, longing to be acknowledged. You do not need to chase money. You only need to awaken as the one who already has it. Once you do, miracles will become mundane. What others call supernatural will become your daily life. Opportunities will emerge from nowhere. People will appear to assist you. Events will rearrange themselves in your favor. But none of this is the point. The point is you have shifted from thinking of yourself as poor to knowing yourself as rich. And that shift changes everything. You may find people around you reacting to this change. Some will be drawn closer. Others will fade away. Bless them all. You are not here to convince or convert. You are here to awaken. And once you are awakened to your power, to your identity as a creator, then wealth is no longer something to desire. It is something to assume, something to embody, something to share. Let the world call it madness. You know it is truth. Let the world ask for proof. You are the proof. Do not argue. Do not explain. Do not beg the world to believe. You walk in faith, and your faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the physical eyes cannot yet see, and knows it as real. Today you walk not by the world's facts, but by the truth of your imagination. Today you leave behind the old conversations, the fears, the doubts, the begging. You stand tall and say, I'm a multi-millionaire from today, and you do not flinch when the old reality contradicts it. You simply persist, persist, persist. You rise in consciousness to the place where you already are. That is what you are doing now. You are climbing not in the physical but in the spiritual. You are entering the state of the wish fulfilled. And once you enter it, your world cannot help but reflect it. So today speak only that which you want to see. Think only those thoughts that align with your assumption. Feel only that which confirms your wealth. You are no longer the one who wants. You are now the one who has. And the world, as a faithful servant, will deliver to you all that you assume, in perfect time and perfect order. It is not magic. It is not manipulation. It is law. So take your eyes off the calendar. Time is an illusion. You are not manifesting over time. You are manifesting through state. Enter the state now. Dwell there. Saturate yourself in the knowing that you are now and always have been a multi-millionaire. Not just financially, but in love, in health, in peace. You are abundance in human form. From this moment forward, let nothing shake your assumption. Let no outer condition pull you back. The furnace of life may test you, but it cannot destroy you. Walk through it as Shadrach did, with the fire burning but not consuming. Your faith is the fourth man in the fire. When you come out, not even the smell of smoke will cling to your clothes. So rejoice, dance, laugh, give thanks, not for what will come but for what already is. You are a multi-millionaire. Not becoming, not hoping, not wishing. You are. This is your truth. This is your identity. This is your assumption. and the world as it always does will follow. You will begin to notice, first subtly, then undeniably, that your reality starts to move. Conversations shift, unexpected income appears, a check arrives, an opportunity presents itself, a person reaches out, but you are not surprised, you are not amazed, because you know this is simply the outpicturing of your new state. This is the echo of your assumption returning in form. You remain unmoved by delays. You remain centered through moments of contrast. Why? Because your conviction is rooted in the unseen, and that unseen is more real than anything you've touched. The world of appearances is the past in motion. You are concerned only with the present in consciousness. The only point of power. Each morning, as your eyes open, you no longer wait as the person trying to make ends meet. You no longer wait as the one struggling to pay bills. You wait as the multi-millionaire. You wait as the fulfilled version of yourself. You rise from bed not just physically but energetically. You rise in awareness, and awareness is the only currency that matters. You will walk through your day with a quiet certainty, not boasting, not proving, but simply knowing. Knowing who you are, knowing what is yours, and from that knowing you give, you radiate, you bless others without fear of loss. For how can one who lives in the infinite ever run out? There is no lack in the state of wealth. There is only overflow. And so your thoughts are no longer obsessed with getting but with expressing. You create not to survive, but because it is your nature to do so. You give not to earn, but because it is your joy. And when fear tries to whisper, when the old voice creeps in to say, but how? Or what if it doesn't work? You do not fight it. You do not wrestle. You simply return. Return to the state. Return to the feeling. Return to the knowing, I'm a multi-millionaire from today. You let that truth dissolve all doubt. You let it flood every cell of your being, because that's all it is. A shift in being. You no longer ask the world for permission. You no longer seek validation. You no longer wait for confirmation from others. You are the confirmation. You are the source. You are the operant power. You are not a victim of life. You are the architect of it. You begin to notice how people treat you differently. Not because they've changed, but because you have. You no longer tolerate what you once did. You no longer feel out of place in places of power. You belong there now because you've accepted that you are powerful. You do not shrink. You do not apologize for your greatness. You walk into rooms knowing that your presence alone shifts the atmosphere. Why? Because you are radiating wealth. And wealth is not money. It is consciousness. It is substance. It is vibration. Others will sense it. They may not know what has changed, but they'll feel it. Some will admire it. Some may resist it. Some may leave. Let them. You are not here to convince. You are here to embody. And your embodiment is your message. And so even in solitude you feel full. Even in silence you feel rich. Even in stillness you feel powerful. Because your power is no longer tied to action. It is tied to awareness. You've divorced yourself from the old identity and married the truth of who you are. This is the resurrection the scriptures speak of. Not just the rising from death, but the rising from smallness, from poverty of thought, from the belief in lack. You are risen into abundance. You are risen into glory. You are risen into glory. You are risen into your God self. And now you see that everything you once chased was always within. The car, the home, the freedom, the luxury, they are not the treasure. You are the treasure. And they are simply reflections of your realized worth. You see now that the inner journey was always the real one. That the bank balance was only a mirror. That the credit score was only an echo. That the success others saw was only a symptom. And the root of it all was your state, your inner dwelling place. And so you protect that state as sacred. You return to it daily. You meditate on it. You feed it with gratitude. You clothe it with imagination. You bless it with your words. And you live from it, not visiting it like a tourist, not flirting with it for a moment, but living there, remaining there, making it your permanent address. And life as it must bends to your new center. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you expect. You no longer doubt, you assume. And in this state everything is added unto you. Not by struggle, not by toil, but by law. So you smile, even when nothing outside has changed. Yet, because you know that change is inevitable, it's already underway. You've stepped into the elevator, and the floor is rising. Whether you feel it or not, your only task is to stay in the elevator, stay in the state, let it carry you. And soon the outer world must conform, not maybe, not hopefully, must. This is law, this is truth, this is you, and you affirm it again. Not to make it true, but to remind yourself that it always was. I am a multi-millionaire. From today, as you move through this new identity, something shifts on a level deeper than words. You begin to understand that the feeling of wealth is not loud. It is not boastful. It is not urgent. It is calm. It is still. It is peaceful. It is sure. There is no grasping, no reaching, no chasing. There is only being. You are no longer striving to make something happen. You are allowing what already is to unfold. This shift in vibration sends signals to everything around you. Without effort, without force, people begin to respond differently. Circumstances bend to your presence. Doors that were once closed open with ease. And if one does not open, you do not panic. You know another one will. Because you live in the consciousness of supply. You are no longer at the mercy of opportunity. You are the opportunity. In this realization, you start to treat yourself differently. You speak to yourself with more kindness. You invest in yourself. You no longer delay your desires. You do not wait to be rich to feel rich. You feel it now. You allow yourself the luxuries in your imagination, knowing that this is the first place they ever exist. You sit in your mind's palace, and you furnish it with the finest things, not to escape, but to prepare, because your outer world is only catching up. The people who come into your life now will reflect your new standard. You will attract clients, partners, friends, and lovers who mirror the abundance you've accepted. There will be no more room for those who play small, who speak of lack, who gossip, who doubt. You will not push them away. Life will do that for you, because your vibration has made the choice clear. You are now living from wealth. And wealth does not argue with limitation. It simply outgrows it. Even your movements become more deliberate. You walk slower, not from laziness, but from confidence. You speak with fewer words, not because you have less to say, but because your words now carry weight. There is power in your silence, because you are rooted in the state that knows. And if ever your old thoughts rise up, the ones that say, this is too much, or I don't deserve this, or who am I to be rich, you do not suppress them. You meet them with compassion. You look them in the eye and say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I am safe now. I am free now. I am worthy now. Because wealth, true wealth, is not just about money. It is about wholeness. It is about freedom of mind, richness of spirit, and expansiveness of heart. And when you live in this consciousness, the money comes, not because you chase it, but because it's the natural outpouring of the state you embody. You find yourself giving more, not just to impress, but because you have more to give. You bless others, not out of obligation, but out of joy. And each act of giving expands you. It reinforces your identity. You are not giving to get. You are giving because that is who you are. When moments of contrast arise, because they will, you meet them as the multi-millionaire would. You do not panic. You do not complain. You remind yourself, this too is shaping me. This too is part of the unfolding. You remain unshaken, because your reality is anchored in the unseen. And what you know in consciousness must become what you see in form. And so you keep choosing. Each hour, each moment, you choose again. I am a multi-millionaire from today. You say it when you're happy. You say it when you're happy. You say it when you're sad. You say it when it looks like it's working. You say it when it looks like it's not. Because you are not swayed by appearances. You are loyal to your assumption. And that loyalty is what moves mountains. You go to bed at night, not asking for a miracle, but thanking life for the miracle already in motion. You rest in peace, knowing that the law never fails. You rest in gratitude, knowing that your dream is not a fantasy. It's a preview of reality. Even your dreams at night begin to change. You dream of wealth, of joy, of fulfillment. You wake up in the middle of the night with ideas, with inspiration, with clarity. You are no longer haunted by lack. Your sleep becomes sacred. Your mind becomes your sanctuary. All the while, without any conscious effort, Your world reshapes itself to match you. Because you have changed. You are not waiting for proof. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the proof. You are the walking evidence that imagination creates reality. So continue. Persist. Remain. Hold fast to the inner knowing. Keep living in the end. Keep thinking from the outcome, not of it. Keep your inner speech aligned. Keep your heart open. Keep your vision clear. Because every assumption you persist in must externalize. Every inner state you dwell in must reflect. Every truth you claim must become visible. And it all begins with one statement, spoken not in hope but in power. I am a multi-millionaire from today. You notice now that this declaration isn't something you repeat to make it happen. It is something you affirm. Because it has happened. In the invisible realm of consciousness, the moment you assumed the state, the reality was born. And just like a seed planted in the soil, it needs no further proving, only nurturing, only watering, with belief, with emotion, with inner stillness. There's no struggle in the seed. It does not push. It does not strive. It simply knows what it is. And it unfolds into form, with divine intelligence. So you too must stop striving. You must stop questioning. You must begin to allow. You must let yourself be wealthy. Let yourself be abundant. Let yourself have. You are no longer at war with yourself. No longer in conflict with the idea of wealth. You have reconciled within. And that reconciliation will be echoed in your external world. You are no longer rejecting the good that wants to come. You are receiving it. You are opening the gates. Because now you understand. It was never about what you do. It was never about effort. It was always about identity. Always about what you accept as true. And from today you have accepted the truth that you are wealthy beyond measure. That abundance flows to you and through you. That money is just one of the many reflections of your inner richness. This truth begins to move through every aspect of your life. It changes the way you carry yourself. You begin to notice details. How you sit. How you breathe. How you smile. You hold your shoulders differently. You answer questions differently. You walk into a room differently. Not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty, with dignity, with presence. Because wealth is not something you put on like a costume. It is something that radiates from the inside out. And you are radiating now. You are glowing with the power of someone who has remembered who they are. Others will sense it. They will ask you what changed. And you will tell them not with pride, but with clarity. I remembered that I am the operant power. I assumed my desire as already fulfilled. I made peace with the end. And I lived from it. In that moment, they will see not just a multi-millionaire, in terms of finances, but a master of self, a soul aligned, a being awake. You have stepped out of time, out of lack, out of confusion. You are now in the eternal present, where all things are possible, where the only question is, what do I choose to dwell in? And you choose to dwell in opulence, in generosity, in the sweetness of freedom, in the stillness of certainty. Not someday, not eventually, but now. For today is the day you become the version of you that has always existed in imagination. Today is the day you walk not as a seeker but as one who has found, not as a beggar, but as one who blesses, not as one waiting for the world to give, but as one who gives to the world through the radiance of their state. And that state, that assumption, that knowing, it is unshakable, it is irreversible, it is who you are now. Because you are not merely becoming, you are not aspiring, you are not hoping, you are a multi-millionaire. From today, and this I am, is not a whisper anymore. It is a thunderous inner declaration that rolls through your being. It pulses through your veins. It saturates every thought, every feeling, every breath. And without needing to shout it to the world, you know it. Deep, steady, immovable. You have entered the state where nothing is missing. Nothing is lacking. Nothing is out of place. You are not seeking to be rich. You have embodied wealth. Now even the little things begin to change. The way you handle your wallet. The way you look at prices. The way you speak to people. No longer from lack or anxiety, but from ease, from fullness, from I have. And this shift becomes your magnet. It draws circumstances, people, chances. Yes, even miracles. Because you are no longer the one asking. You are the one assuming. You are no longer tethered to old patterns. You have severed ties with the identity that needed proof before belief. You now believe before proof. And so proof rushes in to meet you. And even if no evidence showed up today, it would not matter. Because you do not live by the outer. You live by the inner. You trust the unseen more than what your five senses present. For the senses only report what has already been imagined. You understand now that the world is a canvas, and your consciousness holds the brush. So you no longer react. You create. You no longer collapse under pressure. You command, not by force but by assumption, not by muscle, but by mind, not with fear, but with vision. In this vision you already see it. The properties, the travel, the freedom, the giving, the joy, the stillness. You see the digits in your accounts, and smile, not with surprise, but with recognition. You nod internally, and say, of course, I knew it. I felt it all along. Because to you it is already familiar, already natural, already part of who you are. And this naturalness is the key, for nothing manifests until it feels natural to the mind. That is why you no longer wait to feel worthy. You no longer try to earn your desire. You accept it. You wear it like your own skin. You let it live in you like breath. And as it becomes natural, it becomes visible. You are not chasing the millions. They are chasing you, drawn not to your effort, but to your energy, drawn not to your action, but to your assumption, drawn not to your hustle, but to your certainty. And so you walk with this inner richness into every moment, not needing anything, not proving anything, just being, just expressing, just unfolding. Because you've learned now, the more you try, the more it slips away, but the more you rest in it, the more it arrives, the more you relax, the faster it flows. The more you surrender to the knowing, the more the world reveals your truth. And what is that truth? That you are a multi-millionaire. Not tomorrow, not next year, not eventually, from today. And because it is from today, it means the past no longer has a hold on you. Every story you used to tell about struggle, about failure, about how hard it's been, all of it has dissolved. You no longer identify with the version of yourself who almost had, who tried so hard, who just needed a break. That version is gone, released, thanked perhaps, but gone. Because a new self has taken its place. A self that doesn't operate from wounds, but from wholeness. You don't look back anymore to analyze or explain. You don't trace the reasons why you weren't rich before. You don't rehearse the problems or try to fix what was broken. Why would you? You are no longer in that state. You don't fix the past from the past. You transcend it. You outgrow it. You step into the new man, the new woman, the new self who never lacked to begin with. You realize that it was never about becoming anything. It was about remembering. Remembering that you've always had access, always had the power, always had the choice to enter a new state. No one was withholding anything from you. No one was punishing you. You were simply asleep to who you really are. But now, you're awake. And in that awakening, you are reborn. Not physically, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically. You walk into the same house, but you are not the same person. You answer the same phone, see the same contacts, live in the same body, but you are operating from a new center of gravity. The world didn't change. You did. And that shift is enough to alter the course of everything around you. The money, it comes. Of course it comes. It always comes to those who expect it, to those who claim it, to those who feel from the end. But when it arrives, you're not surprised. You're not even overwhelmed. You're peaceful because it matches you, because it belongs to the version of you you've become. And because you never really wanted money, you wanted the feeling of being limitless, of being supported, of being free. Now, you have it. You don't wait for external symbols to feel secure. You feel secure now. You don't need a number in your account to feel valuable. You feel valuable now. You've stopped measuring yourself by the world's rulers, and now you measure yourself only by the depth of your being. And from that depth flows abundance. When you look out at the world, you no longer see separation. You see mirrors. Everything reflects your state. So when things come easily, you smile. You know it's because you are resting in the frequency of ease. When challenges arise, you don't spiral. You adjust your inner dial. You ask, what must I assume now to remain in alignment? You don't ask the world to change. You don't demand that others make you feel wealthy. You take full responsibility. You assume the state. You dwell in it. You nurture it. And that dwelling becomes your temple, your place of power, your command center. You said, continue generating without concluded paragraph. ChatGPT said, and from that command center you no longer send out requests. You send out decrees. You are no longer hoping the universe listens. You know it responds unfailingly to the tone of your inner voice, and your inner voice no longer trembles. It no longer begs. It speaks with clarity, with finality, with quiet assurance. I am wealthy. I am supported. I am chosen. I am a multimillionaire from today. You speak it not to convince yourself, but because it is the only truth you now recognize. Everything else was an illusion, temporary shadows, cast by old beliefs, by former identities that no longer hold power over you. You do not resist them, you simply outshine them, and they dissolve in the light of your new awareness. Even time begins to feel different. It bends around your state. What once took months now arrives in weeks. What once required years now unfolds effortlessly, because you are no longer operating from human effort alone. You are harmonizing with divine law, the law of assumption, the law that creates worlds, the law that brings the invisible into form. So every breath becomes a prayer, not of asking, but of knowing. Every glance becomes sacred, because you are seeing from the eyes of wealth. You are seeing the world as finished, not in progress. And in that completion you walk freely. You walk with lightness. You walk with expectancy, not anxious, but receptive. The people around you begin to notice. They may not understand what changed, but they'll feel it. They'll feel your ease. They'll feel your detachment. They'll feel that you no longer grasp, no longer chase, no longer prove. You radiate certainty, and certainty is irresistible. Your aura changes. Your posture changes. Your words become fewer but heavier. You no longer need to say much because your very presence speaks volumes. When you enter a room, you don't seek attention, but attention finds you. Why? Because you are no longer emitting the frequency of wanting. You are broadcasting having, and having is magnetic. You begin to make decisions from this new state, not reckless, not ego-driven, but calm and expansive. You say yes to things you once feared. You say no to things that no longer match. You invest in yourself. You honor your time. You trust your instincts. You no longer ask, can I afford this? But does this align with who I am now? Who you are now is someone who no longer entertains the vibration of lack, not because you're avoiding it out of fear, but because it simply isn't part of your field anymore. You've transcended it. You've outgrown it. Like a child no longer fits in last year's shoes. You no longer fit in poverty of mind. It's too small for you now. It pinches. It restricts. And you've expanded beyond it. You've made wealth your new normal, not a peak experience, not a lucky break, but your baseline. You've so deeply saturated your being with the feeling of abundance that anything less feels foreign. And the universe, which always confirms your identity, rushes in to support that new standard. So you don't hustle. You don't worry. You don't overthink. You align. You rest. You receive. In receiving, you give because you are now a source. Not a seeker, but a source. And that giving multiplies. That sharing blesses. That generosity opens new channels. Because you've come to understand the greatest truth of all, what you give from the state of I have returns to you multiplied. Now it is all flowing. Resources, ideas, people, timing, all flowing in divine orchestration. And you smile at how easily it unfolds. You no longer marvel. You simply nod. Of course it's happening. You assumed it. You persisted. You remained. And now as you stand at the end of this revelation, hear these words not just with your ears but with your soul. You are a multimillionaire from today. Not because the world said so. Not because your bank balance confirmed it. But because you assumed it. Because you dared to step into a reality not yet seen by others but fully lived within you. You accepted your inheritance. Not from man but from the divine within. This is not the end of a speech. This is the beginning of a new way of living. From this moment forward, you will walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You will create not from effort but from knowing. You will no longer seek the path. You are the path. You will not look outward for evidence. You will live inward from certainty. The old story is over. The old self is gone. The curtain has lifted and you are revealed, not as someone trying to become rich, but as someone who already is. And everything in your world will now rearrange to mirror this truth. Persist in it. Rest in it. Honor it. Live it. Because your world is simply waiting for you to decide. And today you decided. So go now, not as someone wishing, not as someone waiting, but as one who knows I am a multi-millionaire from today, and nothing can stop it.